Let's jump over to another big story that is part of the new normal. DC's Superman, Jon Kent, comes out as bisexual. This is an ongoing saga of reinventing characters, modernizing them to some way. As though some way, somehow, nothing sacred is sacred anymore. Even to include not just things in the church. You know, the Synodal Church of Germany has been doing an awful lot of reinventing. Last week we reported on the altar that got removed and the pile of dirt that got put in place. And now Germany was trying to take a vote on whether or not to even keep the priesthood at all, let alone accept all comers and everything else. Everything is on the table, it seems, to include more superheroes. DC's new Superman, Jon Kent, comes out as bisexual. Here's a little bit of this article. This is in ScreenRant.com. DC Comics have confirmed that Jon Kent's Superman is bisexual as an upcoming story in his ongoing series Superman, Son of Kal-El, number 5. We will see the hero officially come out. DC revealed that what some fans have suspected for a long time, that Jon is queer. A future storyline teases a romance with his new friend Jay Nakamura, which is the first queer romance for DC's newest Superman. Let that sink in. Superman. Superman has now been reinvented, but that's not all. There is much more. But wait, yeah, I feel like it's that infomercial. But wait, there's more. How about Lego? The Blaze reports Lego vows to get rid of gender bias in its toys. Now, I've got 6 kids, and I'm pretty sure all of my kids love to play with Legos. All of them. And yesterday I told you about the story about how years ago we discovered a Lego brick Bible. And it was filled with horrific ideas that would corrupt the young minds, their perversions, sexual perversions. And my wife and I were horrified to discover this after we gave it to our kids. And we threw the book away because we didn't want anybody else to have it. Well, praise be to God, I also failed to tell you that our friends from Wisconsin, they also had the same experience, and they made their own brick Bible, which is completely orthodox. It's the Catholic Catechism in Lego brick, and it is amazing. It teaches typology and the sacraments. It is truly, truly very, very good. I've interviewed him on a number of occasions. I should get him back. But Lego vows to get rid of gender bias in its toys. Here's a bit of the article. Woke culture has invaded nearly every corner of American society, and the toy department is no exception. Lego, the company that creates plastic building blocks that can be fashioned into pretty much anything and sells those molded pieces at exorbitant prices, announced Monday that it would work to get rid of the, quote, gender bias and harmful stereotypes, unquote, surrounding its toys, the UK Guardian reported. No longer can parents find Legos for boys or for girls, and the company's website does not let shoppers search for toys by gender, the Guardian pointed out. And the company did not stop there. Lego, one of the biggest toy makers in the world, made its woke announcement about ridding itself of gender biases and stereotypes following the publication of a study that it commissioned, which, quote, found attitudes to play and future careers remain unequal and restrictive, unquote, the Guardian said. Apparently, boys and their parents are just too bigoted about the idea of playing with the girls' toys. So Lego is going to do what it can to combat such harmful stereotypes. Because, you know, it's their job to raise our children, right? It must be their job. So there you go. You get Superman hijacked. You get Lego hijacked. Oh, but wait, there's more. Los Angeles Times reports that there's a new law which is taking effect in California that says retail stores with 500 or more employees must sell some toys and childcare products outside of areas specifically labeled by gender. They have to have gender-neutral areas of their store. How do you do, like, how does one, I mean, male and female, he made them, right? So we can pretend all we wish, but in the end, we are made either male or female. How does one become gender neutral? It seems rather bizarre. It's the new normal. Adrian, are you ready for that?
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. No, this is horrible. No, the question of Superman, I think, is actually incredibly important, because people who realize that Superman is American mythology. America doesn't have the Greek mythology. We don't have the Roman mythology. We don't even have the Christian mythology anymore. The mythology of America is, the founding fathers, but also the comic book industry. And so Superman used to be the archetype of an American: truth, justice, in the American way, an immigrant from another planet coming to America, becoming to a small town in Kansas, and adopting Christian ideals. I believe his family was Methodist, and that's the way he was. And the character of Jonathan Kent is the son of Superman, and he's an old character from the 1970s. He existed as Superman Jr., what they called him back then, and now they bring him in, and by Superman now, as of right now in the comic books, for the kids reading this right now, the kids reading Superman, that his son has now replaced his father, like a legacy, and then they just throw this into what happens. It puts in the mind of young people. And my friends were asking yesterday, why is NPR reporting on Superman right now? Like, who cares? It's a comic book, for crying out loud. And people don't realize how much of a cultural icon. When Superman died in a comic book years ago, over 2 decades ago, it was on the news. Like, the news reported that Superman was killed in a comic book. That's how big of a deal it was back then. And it still is, because it is symbolic of the American ideal. So if Superman is gay, what does that say? That says that Superman, that's what the American ideal is, a bisexual man. And so that's why this is a huge cultural point, even though it seems very trivial. It's like, oh, it's just comic books. This is huge. This is the left wants to take over every aspect of our lives. But then, more specifically, they need to target the young. The children are the most impressionable, and so they target the young, because once they are converted, they will know. It's much harder to convince people who are older and already solidified in their ideas, but the young are malleable. They can abandon the old and target the young, and they have a future for their wicked ideologies.
Winning hearts and minds. That's exactly what they're after. They are going after that next generation. But it's amazing to me to see how many in society just go along with all of these things. Now, what would you want, Joe? Do you want a revolt? Do you want upheaval? I don't want upheaval. I want my kids to have a nice, easygoing life. But that's not what's served up, is it? It's the new normal. And the new normal, it means we have to stand against the immorality, injustice, and perversion in society. And this is a perversion. It is not good. It is not charitable for the souls that will be corrupted, which is why I read part of St. Augustine this morning, who said he didn't even let his host, Jesus, he didn't even let his host off the hook here. I'm paraphrasing Augustine. I'll read it to you again. It's very pertinent, I think, as we get ready to go to break. St. Augustine on today's gospel. But how was it that he spared not the man by whom he was invited? Yea, rather, he spared him by reproof, that when corrected, he might spare him at the judgment. Do you see? People are going to be facing an end of the time of mercy and a beginning of the time of judgment. And when the judgment comes, it's all final at that point. There's no going back. So this is our chance to share the great gift of mercy, to be charitable to others, to call out these ills and wrongs and immoralities in society, to try to do something, change a heart, a mind, plant a seed, something